What drives a person to destroy something beautiful, something shared, something meant for joy? In the heart of Willow Creek County Park, where families gathered under sprawling oaks to share laughter and grilled burgers, one woman's rage would unravel a tale of chaos, redemption, and a bitter reckoning. It was a golden Saturday in June, the kind where the sun kissed every blade of grass and the air hummed with the chatter of picnickers. Willow Creek was alive. Children darted through sprinklers, couples lounged on blankets, and the scent of charcoal and hot dogs wafted through the park. At the center of it all were the sturdy oak benches, hand-carved by local artisans, each etched with names of donors who'd funded the park's restoration a decade ago. They were more than furniture. They were symbols of community, of shared moments etched into wood. Karen Mitchell, 42, arrived at the park that morning with a storm in her eyes. She wasn't a regular her. No one recognized her sharp bob or the way her heels clicked against the gravel path. She carried a designer handbag and a scowl that could curdle milk. Karen had booked a pavilion for her son's 10th birthday, expecting a pristine setup for her meticulously planned party. What she found instead was a minor oversight. 2 of the 6 reserved tables were occupied by a group of teens playing cards, their backpacks strewn across the benches. "Excuse me," Karen snapped, her voice slicing through the teens' laughter. "These are my tables. Move." The teens, led by a lanky boy named Jamal, apologized quickly. "Sorry, ma'am, we didn't know. We'll clear out." They gathered their things, but Karen's fuse was already lit. She muttered under her breath about disrespectful kids and incompetent park staff. The teens were gone in minutes, but Karen's anger didn't dissipate. Festered. By noon, the party was in full swing. Balloons bobbed in the breeze, and a bounce house wobbled with giggling kids. But Karen's mood darkened with every perceived slight. The park's speaker system wouldn't connect to her playlist. A stray dog sniffed too close to the cake, and a nearby family's barbecue sent smoke drifting her way. To Karen, these weren't inconveniences, they were personal attacks. Then came the spark. As she rearranged chairs, she noticed a faint stain on one of the benches, a smudge of ketchup from some earlier picnic. "This is unacceptable," she hissed to no one in particular. She stormed to the park office, demanding to speak to the manager. The young clerk, Mia, a college student working her summer job, tried to explain that the benches were cleaned daily but could get messy during busy weekends. Karen wasn't having it. "Do your job," she shouted, her voice echoing through the small office. Mia offered to send a cleaner, but Karen spun on her heel and marched back to the pavilion. What happened next would become the talk of Willow Creek for years. Fueled by a cocktail of entitlement and rage, Karen grabbed a metal folding chair and swung it at the nearest bench. The wood splintered with a sickening crack. Gasps rippled through the crowd. She didn't stop. One by one, she attacked the benches, smashing legs, cracking tabletops, and defacing the carved names. Parents shielded their kids' eyes. Some pulled out phones to record. By the time park security arrived, Karen had reduced 6 benches to kindling, her face flushed with a mix of triumph and fury. "You can't treat people like this," she screamed as security restrained her. "This park is a disgrace." The aftermath was swift. Police arrived, and Karen was escorted away in handcuffs. The birthday party dissolved into chaos. Her son, Ethan, sobbing as his friend's parents whisked them away. But the story didn't end there. Enter Clara, a quiet park volunteer who'd been watching from the sidelines. Clara, a retired schoolteacher with a gentle smile and a spine of steel, had a secret that would turn this tale on its head. Clara had been one of the original donors for the benches, her late husband's name carved into the very wood Karen destroyed. She'd spent years maintaining the park, planting flowers, and teaching kids about the local ecosystem. To her, those benches were a love letter to her husband, a man who'd spent his life building community. Seeing them shattered broke something in her, but Clara wasn't one to wallow. She had a plan. While Karen awaited her hearing, Clara rallied the town. She organized a fundraiser to replace the benches, but with a twist. Each new bench would be engraved with a message of unity, a reminder of what the park stood for. Donations poured in, kids emptied piggy banks, Local businesses chipped in, and even Jamal and his friends contributed, moved by Clara's quiet resolve. The fundraiser raised $50,000 in a week, enough to replace the benches and add new ones. Karen's day in court was a spectacle. The judge, a no-nonsense woman named Lydia Harper, laid out the damages. $140,000 for the benches, factoring in their historical and sentimental value, plus labor costs. Karen was also ordered to personally fund the replacement of every bench task that would drain her savings. Her defense, a tearful rant about poor service and provocation, fell flat. The courtroom buzzed when Clara took the stand, her voice steady as she described her husband's legacy and the community's response. "We don't destroy," she said, looking straight at Karen. "We rebuild." The twist came when Ethan, Karen's son, approached Clara after the hearing. He was only 10, but his eyes carried a weight no child should bear. "I'm sorry for what my mom did," he whispered, handing Clara a crumpled drawing of a bench with the words, "I'm sorry," scrawled across it. Clara knelt, hugged him, and promised to hang the drawing in the park office. That moment, fleeting but raw, shifted the narrative. Karen's actions had consequences, but Ethan's quiet apology hinted at a chance that the cycle of anger might break. Months later, the new benches were unveiled. Each bore a plaque with words like community, forgiveness, and together. The park was more vibrant than ever, with families returning to picnic, laugh, and heal. Karen, however, was a ghost. She'd moved away, her reputation in tatters, her savings gone. Whispers said she was working 2 jobs to pay off the fine, her pride a distant memory. But the story's heart lies in its bitter end. On a quiet evening, Clara sat on one of the new benches, tracing her husband's name on the plaque. She'd won. In a way, her community had triumphed over destruction. Yet, as she watched a family grill nearby, she felt a pang. Karen's rage had cost her everything. Her son's trust, her place in the world, even her sense of self. And Ethan? He'd carry the weight of his mother's actions forever, a boy caught in the wreckage of her choices. The park thrived, but the scars lingered. Not in the wood, but in the hearts of those who'd witnessed the fall. Clara looked out at the sunset, her fingers lingering on the plaque. "We rebuild," she murmured, but the words felt heavy. Some things, once broken, could never be whole again. Nd.